family. We thank you for the showers of blessing, O God. We thank you for the way that you send the rain, drip by drip, O God, so the crop would not be able to spoil. Father, you are so great unto we as human beings, O God. There are times, Father, we do not have enough mouth to give you thanks and give you praise. I bring, O God, Relay FM before you, O God. I'm asking, O God, to continue to touch and bless that radio station, management, and staff for doing a tremendous job over the years. We ask you, God, to touch every piece of equipment on that radio station, that none must be malfunction, O God. And bless, O God, the manager, Mr. Andrew Donald, and his associate, God. I'm asking you to watch over them, and I ask you to bless them. Father, we commit this day into your hand. We do recognize that this is the day that you have made, and as a result of that, we will rejoice, and we will glad in it, and the devil could do nothing about that. Bless us. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your mercies. We thank you for your sustaining grace. We commit our lives into your hand. We ask you, God, to bless and keep us. In Jesus' name, amen and amen.
Amen. What's up?
I'm here, my friend, just taking it one day at a time, enjoying the best of everything. How you do?
A day?
Yes. Amen.
You there?
Yes, man. Fully there. Everybody there, man. We're really there,
If you come into St. Patrick this morning and you need breakfast, there are two spots. You can either check out Velma's or you can check out Jenny. Velma, let me see what she has. Fried baked saltfish and chicken and local herbal tea. She's got split peas soup, rice and chicken and fish and green salad for lunch today. Juices, yeah, local. Dinner tonight, burgers and fries if you so desire. Jendi has fried bakes, roast bake, fried fish, sausage, ham. That is what Jendi have for breakfast. And for lunch today, my favorite dish, oil down.
Wow.
Yeah. That's for lunch by Jendi today.
Does she operate on a Saturday, Jerry?
What's that?
Does she operate on a Saturday also?
Jendi?
Uh-huh.
The only day Jendi doesn't operate is the day between Sunday and Monday.
You strange boy. Right, but what I want to do, I definitely don't know the place. So then a little later on, I will call you offline. So then you could accompany a good boy to go and sit down and relax.
All right, so hold on.
I'll call you offline, okay?
No, listen to me. Jendi is right across from where the radio station is.
Oh, okay.
Right? Velma is up High Street. That's going up towards the cemetery?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's the two places.
Yeah.
I know, I ain't want to go nowhere with you. Oh, by the way, man, I have some sad news.
Uh-huh.
St. Vincent didn't come out of it early last night.
Uh-huh.
They had some shootout in St. Vincent last night.
Oh, God.
What you call some slaughtering. My side, I just call it slaughtering.
No, that's St. Vincent. And all over St. Vincent, man.
Someone was telling me that it was close to. I asked them if it was close to Likotokyo, and they said no. On the top side where they board the boats to go to Union Island.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, on that side. In Tongo, that's what happened.
What?
Yeah.
So casualties, mass or something like that? Any motive for what happened?
Well, a shootout, or execution, whatever. How many died? 5.
What?
Yeah, 5.
St. Vincent's our neighbors, remember that?
What's that?
St. Vincent's our neighbors.
Me, son, I see neighbor behaving bad, me and them not neighbor, not say, Anytime neighbor behaving bad, me and them not neighbor. I will never forget. Now listen to me carefully. I will never forget that who want to say do so, whatever they want to say, a business. I'd never forget 1979 and 1983 when all who were supposed to be my neighbor, don't come. And now I must do so.
By Trinidad, say don't come, don't touch here.
And I must do so. No, I can't. I remember that. I love forgetting. I remember that.
But
I love them and I respect them.
And just pray for
sort
out
the issues, families of the bereaved.
Yeah.
I am really and truly sorry.
Yeah.
And I hope that you find peace.
Oh boy.
I hope that you find peace, and I hope you will understand. But I can say as I when meeting is taking place, I was telling me don't come, and now people telling me no. It can't feel so. I know people gonna like me for saying that, but sorry. People doesn't like me for speaking the truth.
But it's the way to say it.
Well, how to say it?
The way to say it. Well, you're getting it.
Well, no, tell me how to say it. Okay, I say, I don't say if I don't know. So you say, no.
Andrew, I take it. I'll a little later today, man.
All right, then, one love. Take care.
All
right, good.
Right.
It is real. It's 91.9, 91.5, www.drumsticks. Let's get it going. Yeah, I got some things that I need to handle quickly this morning. So drumsticks, let's take it. Agriculture
is the number one. Number one. Yes, the number one. Oh yes, the number one. It's the number one. Why you disown agriculture? I'm talking to the youths of this nation and those wicked politicians, like they want to structure the plan. Well, from here to the revolution, agriculture was on top. Man Jack and didn't do too bad. After that,
11 minutes after the 7 o'clock. Drums, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to the nation. A reading from the Word of God, Psalm 138. I will praise thee with my whole heart. Before the gods will I sing praises unto thee. I will worship towards thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. In the day when I cry, thou answered me and strengthened me with strength in my soul. All the kings of the earth shall praise thee, O Lord, when they hear the words of my mouth. Yea, they shall sing in the way of the Lord, for great is glory of the Lord. This is the end of the scripture reading.
And thank you, my dear. Have a wonderful day.
You too, have a lovely day.
Oh, okay, good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's get it rolling.
to Trinidad.
Weather exactly at 20 minutes after. It's now 12 after.
Revolution.
Attention homeowner. Is your home or yard the source of mosquito breeding? Check now to ensure that mosquitoes are not breeding on your premises. Remember, dengue fever is on the rise. Dengue fever can kill, and you could be the next victim. So check your home and yard for breeding sites such as water holding containers, drums, tires, dish rack trays, washing machines, toys, septic tanks, bottles, and just about anything that can hold water. Remember, no mosquito, no dengue. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs with support from PAHO.
How we live? Hybrid life. Living in the hybrid life. What you feeling? Hybrid life. Living in the hybrid life. Ain't no more time we now watch phone bill. No That's with the contract is a sure thing. How with the new floor plan name? Hybrid. If you don't know about it, then they better slide in. How we live? Hybrid life. Living in the hybrid life. What you feeling? Hybrid life. Living in the hybrid life. Jump in at it. Hybrid life. Living in the hybrid life. What you feeling? Hybrid life. Living in the hybrid life.
come together as one with no overages, no contract, no deposit, and no catch.
Hybrid.
Bundle up now and get 15 gigabytes of data and 2,000 anywhere minutes for only $50 per month, plus a discounted smartphone.
You see the new phone plan that Flow made? You could turn postpaid to prepaid.
Rendec Community Partnership Initiative.
The classrooms that were refurbished as a result of this project really were not conducive to installing ICT into the classroom. Many of the windows were not functional. The security to the actual rooms themselves were insufficient. At the Maribor campus, the roof was also termite infested. The college is extremely appreciative.
Hungry, anyone? You heard about it, and it's finally here. Velma's Restaurant.
Rendec Community Partnership Initiative.
The classrooms that were refurbished as a result of this project really were not conducive to installing ICT into the classroom. Many of the windows were not functional. The security to the actual rooms themselves were insufficient. At the Maribor campus, the roof was also termite infested. The college is extremely appreciative of the contribution of Grenlec to this project to really enhance learning through the use of information and communications technology.
Hungry, anyone? You heard about it, and it's finally here. Velma's Restaurant and Bar, located High Street Sateras in St. Patrick. They're open from 6 a.m. until midnight. Breakfast is available from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. On the menu is roast bake, sawfish, and many mouth-watering items. Lunch is a close second, with items that can be grilled to your satisfaction. We have steamed fish and other seafoods too. For the health-conscious ones, we provide vegan and vegetarian dishes. Looking for something that will hit the spot? From 5 p.m. until close, come and enjoy our burgers and fries. At Velma's, we cater and host parties. We have an on-site bakery where you can place your orders for fruitcakes and other pastries. We also have local juices. Listen to Real FM for your daily menu to place your order in advance. Call us at 419-5622. That number again, 419-5622. Velma's Restaurant and Bar. Come eat lunch with us.
Maya's Collection, located on Main Street, Satea, St. Patrick, announces its back-to-school promotion. Available are uniforms for MacDonald College, St. Mark's Secondary, Montrose SDA Comprehensive, St. Joseph Convent Grenville, and some uniforms for primary and pre-primary schools in St. Patrick. Check out Maya's today for all your school accessories, shirts, belts, socks, notebooks, and much more. Also in stock is a wide variety of household items. We are opened Monday to Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and later for your convenience. We accept government and Grand Coda vouchers. Call Maya today on 449-6197. A warm welcome awaits you.
Carriacou is the place to be, August 4th to the 7th, for the 50th year of the Carriacou Regatta Festival. The Carriacou Regatta Festival, which is the longest sailing event in the region, is celebrated under the theme, Timeless Culture on the Sea. Come join us for 4 days of exciting and competitive boat racing from Friday to Monday. Fun games, day and night parties, road marathon, Miss Teen Regatta, night boat cruises, the foreign artist show, donkey race, and greasy pole are some of the activities to look forward to. For more info, contact the Regatta Jumper on 473-443-7930. The Carriacou Regatta Festival 2023, August 4th to the 7th. Sail by day, party by night. Carriacou welcomes you.
Yes, agriculture is the number one. Numero uno. Oh yes, the number one. Numero uno. Why you disown agriculture? I'm talking to the youths of this nation and those wicked politicians like they want to structure the plan. Well, from the to the revolution, agriculture was on top. Man jacked this and didn't do too bad. After that, you know the whole thing flop. Why? Everybody want to sit down in computer, and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer, agriculture, and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. You could live with a goal, and they forget agriculture. Everybody want to sit down in computer. I tell you just now, my brothers, all you go with them computers. We used to ship plenty nectars all the way down to Trinidad during the revolution. We used to use up all the fruits that we had. When we could do nutmeg and banana was at the highest level. Now the youth them don't want to take over from the elders and continue. Oh gosh, why? Everybody want to sit down in computer, and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer, agriculture, and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. You could live with a goal, and they forget agriculture. Everybody want to sit down in computer. I tell you just now, my brothers, all you go with them computers.
It's real. Did that happen? I guess it did. Good morning, Jonathan Price. How are you?
I'm doing quite all right. And yourself?
I'm okay. How's Daddy?
He doing all right, man. He doing all right.
Okay. Tell him to keep walking.
All right.
Okay, tell me.
All right. So here is the weather for today, Thursday, the 20th of July, 2023, as recorded at the Morris Bishop International Airport. It is currently fair with winds coming from the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour. Barometric pressure is 1017.4 millibars, which is above normal and rising. Present temperature is 27.1 degrees Celsius and relative humidity 88%. Yesterday's maximum was 30.7 degrees Celsius and the minimum last night 26.4 degrees Celsius. Over the past 24 hours, 0.1 millimeters of rainfall was recorded, which brings the total for the month to 171.1 millimeters. And now for the public forecast for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique weather for today and tonight. The weather is expected to be partly cloudy with some brief, light to moderate, isolated showers. Today's maximum will be 31.5 degrees Celsius with winds easterly to southeasterly at 12 to 22 miles per hour. Seas will be slight to moderate with waves 3 to 5 feet in open waters. Low tide will be at 11:30 a.m. and high tide at 6 p.m. Sunset will be at 6:36 and sunrise at 5:52. Just to repeat the public forecast for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique weather for today and tonight. The weather is expected to be partly cloudy with some brief, light to moderate, isolated showers. From the forecast desk at the Morris Bishop International Airport, I'm Jonathan Price. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, son. Take care of yourself. Have a good one, too.
For sure.
All right. It's real. Love them in the morning. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I ain't got no time to stick and stay this morning. That thing. Yeah, blessings. Just follow me. I've got everything needed. BJ, he should be in about 8 o'clock this morning.
Agriculture.
But before BJ, I want to speak to someone. Stay with us.
Number one. Let's be number one. Oh, yes. The number one. It's the number one. Why you disown agriculture? I'm talking to the youths of this nation. And those wicked politicians, like they want to structure the plan. Well, from the revolution, agriculture was on top. Man jack this and didn't do too bad. After that, you know the whole thing flop. Why? Everybody want to sit down in computer. And they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. Agriculture. And they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. You could live without goals. And they forget agriculture. Everybody want to sit down in computer. I tell you just now, my brothers, all you go with them computers.
Carrico is the place to be, August 4th to the 7th, for the 50th year of the Carrico Regatta Festival. The Carrico Regatta Festival, which is the longest sailing event in the region, is celebrated under the theme, Timeless Culture on the Sea. Come join us for 4 days of exciting and competitive boat racing from Friday to Monday. Fun games, day and night parties, road marathon, Miss Teen Regatta, night boat cruises, the foreign artist show, donkey race, and greasy pole are some of the activities to look forward to. For more info, contact the Regatta Jooper on 473-443-7930. The Carrico Regatta Festival 2023, August 4th to the 7th. Sail by day, party by night. Carrico welcomes you.
Yes, agriculture is the number one. Number one, yes, the number one. Oh yes, the number one. It's the number one. Why you disown agriculture? I'm talking to the youths of this nation. And those wicked politicians, like they want to structure the plan. Well, from the revolution, agriculture was on top. Man jack this and didn't do too bad. After that, you know the whole thing flop. Why? Everybody want to sit down in computer. And they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. Agriculture.
Everybody want to sit on a computer and they forget agriculture. That statement will resonate with my guest that I have online. Morning, sir.
Good morning. What statement that would resonate?
Everybody wants to sit down on a computer and they forget agriculture?
Well,
that's what the song says, you know.
Sorry?
That's what the song says.
Yes, that's what the song says, and obviously politically agriculture and the fishing sector have to be promoted and be driven by intelligence.
Artificial?
Not necessarily artificial. Artificial, yes, but we're not there yet. I think pure brute force intelligence is needed. We are naturally farmers. We are in Grenada because of our association with the land, as painful as it is. However, it's more than time that we ought to be exploiting the value of the lands and enrich ourselves.
Well, I didn't call you here to talk about agriculture this morning anyway. Waste my time with talking gobbledygook.
What are we talking about?
Stanley, yesterday I walked down the street and there's a place here on Main Street in Sateers, right in the crazy. It's called Little England. And
Little who?
Little England.
Oh God, yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's a place called Little England, and there's a gentleman there, a good gentleman by the name of Mr. Keith Sylvan, himself and his wife. His wife is one of the pharmacists in Sateers, and he runs that business there. So what he does is that he tries to get people who are accustomed with stuff from England.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to get them stuff from England. So if you're accustomed with a washing machine from
Cadbury's chocolate.
Well, all these sort of things, he can do it for you. He can get it in. He travels there regularly. He brings in stuff, and
chocolate, blue nun.
Cadbury chocolate. You and Cadbury chocolate. So anyway, when I went in there yesterday, he says, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And he showed it to me. And I'm like, "What the hell is this?" And he says, "Yeah, that's happening." And the caption, if I can read it to you, Caribbean nationals will require a visa to travel to the UK starting from Dominica. And Dominica is going to be the first beginning, I guess, at the end of July, end of this month. And then other nations will follow, including, of course, Grenada. So I was like, wow. And then I remembered something that resonated with me. And something I remember simply this. Someone said to me, "Andre, Stanley has been telling you crap like this will happen." So I decided to give you a call. And here we are. Stanley, did you hear what I just said?
Yes, I read, obviously, you sent me the stuff, so I then went and checked on it. It's interesting, Andre, and I'll start by saying this. I am not elevated to the point where I ought to be speaking on behalf of government's policies. You ought to have somebody from Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, capable people and competent to speak on this issue. As you pointed out, it is a major issue. However, the stories and the reference to the story, this is a leak story. And if you go and sort out the people who the story went to, they don't even exist. However, this morning, you can quote the Daily Mail, because the Daily Mail is then saying, we can now confirm this. So yes, but again, the British have the right, as we have, to do what is in self-interest. And the British see this as being in their interest. I would say the background to this is, Andre, and it cannot be ruled out, is British racism. I don't know if the shop you speak of sells racism, but I'm sure they would understand racism. And this is racism. The British have a floating jail, and they call it a floating accommodation. It's a floating accommodation. It's not a jail. Now, people, indeed, if you go into various countries, some countries demand of you a visa.
Yeah.
So you can enter the country. There's nothing wrong with that. However, the backdrop to all of this, remember, there's something called the Windrush generation and the Windrush. These are black people who went to England. In the days, they may have something called a colonial passport. They certainly didn't come from a country. Country didn't exist. And they went to England. The English, of course, being as racist they are deporting some of these people because they haven't got what they call appropriate document. Because when they went to England, they didn't have a passport. And being rather silly, they never, went and graduate themselves, get a British passport or whatever passport. So the British say, well, you're stateless, piss off, you black so-and-so. So this is the background to these things. And of course, we now been roped in to the Commonwealth. But let me not go ahead of myself. One of the issues I think that is of concerning, and if you listen to the Grenadian commentary, they're not picking up on this. The reference, and you made the reference towards the Dominica, obviously this would have been in the diplomatic channel. So the countries cannot say they didn't know this was coming. They knew it was coming. They just didn't know what time it was coming. But it was coming because the reference that the British Minister of Security is given, which is quoted in the Daily Telegraph, Andre, is saying they're concerned about their security, and some of these CDI people, and they reference in Dominica. Imagine you have a Dominican citizen by investment, and they are a bit concerned that some of these people ought not to be holding these citizenship. They turn up in England, and they have the right to access England because now they are a citizen of the Commonwealth of Dominica. So on the face of it, you can't say no, but I'm saying it's driven by race. A way to stop these countries from developing is being concerned about their CBI. Equally, Andrea, I'm sure you're aware, and there's a Financial Times documentary about it, that Britain is one of the main centers for money laundering. I didn't create that. Go and look at it, Financial Times. The Financial Times is who say that, and they have a documentary on it. So, this double standards, that the British are concerned about money laundering. They are concerned about crime links to finances and all that.
But Stanley here, shouldn't they be concerned about an Australian, a Ukrainian, somebody from Czechoslovakia, or wherever turning up in England, not being able to speak English, and is saying that I'm from Grenada. And if you ask them, well, how big is Grenada? They can't even tell you.
Well, that is.
Shouldn't they be concerned?
Well, I'm not saying they ought not to be. I'm saying that it's driven by race rather than just pure concern, because people holding Grenadian citizenship for a long time, as you pointed out, English has never, they've been estranged from any language, never mind English. They have the money to pay and they've bought it, yes. The British and the Canadians and others have reasons to be concerned. That the Caribbean are locked in, Andre, you cannot disassociate the articles you were talking about from corresponding banks. When the Americans forced the banks to move out of Grenada, to move out of the region. Now that is drastic and have a detrimental effect on our economy. Now, you're going to tell me that that is not race? I say it speaks to race. The banks, no one accused them of not being able to speak English. They've been in the Caribbean for 100 years or more, and you say it's time for you to go, guys, because you may be laundering money. We're not waiting for you to launder money. We're going to charge you. And the Caribbean is left high and dry. So this isolated example that you could put up, yeah.
So standing here, here's what. Give me the long answer as to why our governments, and I'm speaking here, governments throughout the Caribbean, it's going to happen to Dominica in a couple of days. It's going to happen to us in a couple of months. Why is it that our foreign affairs people are our prime ministers? Why is it they're not speaking about this? Give me the long answer on that one.
So let me answer it this way. I'm sure most Grenadians are aware of that. Your mother's cooking and she have dumplings or whatever on the fire. You run in the kitchen and sneak one. You say to your mother, you took one, and she know you have it in your pocket, so she keeps it there for 10 minutes because it burn your backside. Well, this is they're not prepared to come up against the British or anybody else. So they don't say anything. The reference to the banks and how long did it take them after the banks have occurred? And what you're saying is legitimate. CARICOM is who you should look to offer some sort of statement on behalf of the region. And yes, the individual governments need to speak because it is coming. It's just a matter of time before you will be affected by it and what will be the implication. In the case of Grenada, that has always been attacked left, right, and center, Grenada was invaded by the United States of America. In return, the Americans gave you favored status, which is the E2 visa. Grenada is about the only country in the Caribbean with that privilege. So when you buy a Grenadian CBI, citizenship by investment, one of the reasons why it is attractive to you and will pay anything for it, it allows you within 6 months to be in the United States of America and investing in the United States of America. That the Americans may be concerned, given the situation right now, the war in Ukraine and Russia, which is, a war between Russia and the Americans. We've caught up in that. And then people say, well, you lot are giving this to Russians, giving this to this to this. So we've caught up in a global matter that has nothing to do with us. And because our media is weak, our media is not highlighting it. One of the so-called leading media in Grenada carried the story you mentioned, but merely what they say what the British say, and they quote a newspaper that doesn't exist. So, we have weaknesses. It's not just the government obviously should take the lead. This present government is a bit weak and haven't yet found its footing, so I can't be critical of them. However, I can say in the whole of the region, we are weak in defending ourselves, and because we are very secretive, information that the media should have, it's not going to have it until when the deed is done, like the banks left the Caribbean, you then tell the journalists, oh, well, this is what they did and this is what they... No, brief the people before it happens so they can inform their public, and then, like you're saying, when you went to see this man yesterday in his shop, he informed you you could then go on the net and read and inform your audience, which is what you're doing now. But in Grenada, it's a secret society, so you don't need to know. And shut up, boy. Go ahead there. What do you want? Shut up, boy.
But Stanley, I realize that either you're becoming how do I say, you're aging to perfection or you're getting old. Whichever one you want to choose is entirely up to you. Because I'm hearing you saying, Stanley, oh well, give the government an opportunity. They've not gotten their feet. Stanley,
Well,
Stanley, you're getting older.
If a man is unsteady, it's unkind for you to push him over. I mean, maybe that is my culture. If you're unsteady,
That is not your culture at all, Stanley, and you know that. That's being rather hypocritical.
Well, I think if you live in a country like Grenada, hypocritical is the order of the day. If we weren't hypocritical, the Jesus people wouldn't be as prominent as they are in Grenada. Would they be as prominent as they are and as being influential? In Grenada, we have a problem. The tail is always wagging the dog. So you are saying to me, I ought to be different. I ought not to be the tail. I ought to be the head. Well, that's very dangerous. Remember, I spent a little time in jail for being different.
Yeah, I remember that. I most certainly do remember that. But Stanley, where are we now? Where do we go? I mean, is there a need for the administration to come out and speak to citizens and say, look, this is what is going to happen, and there's nothing we can do about it, or we are working collectively to see what we can do about it?
Well, there is obviously in any sensible country, there's more than a need for you to hear the government voice, for you to hear the opposition voice. In this particular case, the opposition really should speak first because it has had experience and understand these things more so than the new guys who are at the helm. Now, however, it's a diplomatic issue. It's also a political issue. How do you handle it? I don't think in Grenada we've had the experience of handling these kinds of sensitivities because we're walking on a political tightrope. And if we fall off, we lose a lot of money. And at the end of the day, money governs. You were saying that I'm now demonstrating a part of me that you weren't aware of, that I'm kind of conservative. I don't think I'm conservative. I think that, look, I'm saying, let us be pragmatic. We need the CEI, but we also need some understanding of how it works and where the money goes. That hasn't been there. If the British and others, by taking measures that is against our interests, forces us to behave in a way that the people of Grenada would benefit from this CPI, then I'm on board.
Here's this that just came into me, Stanley. It says it's a set of fees that are being charged for these visas. Standard visitors visa, that's £100 for 6 months, length of stay 6 months.
Yeah.
Standard visitors visa for medical reasons, that's like 200 quid. 11 months. Standard visitors visa for academics, 200 quid. That's for 12 months. 2-year long standard visitors visa, 6 months per visit. That's £376. 5-year long standard visitors visa, 670 quid, 6 months per visit. And 10-year long-term standard visitors visa, 6 months per visit, 837 quid. Interesting?
No, look, it doesn't matter what the British are charging. They would have worked out what they see as a reasonable price range. If you don't want to pay, well, to hell with you, go to another country. I mean, look at what they've done to Africa. In the same reference you were referencing, they made it quite clear that students are not intelligent enough. We don't bloody want you. You will not get visas. They said that. This was about 2-3 months ago. And, people from the African continent get mad about it. So imagine you're a student of some fandango stuff, and at the end of the day, the university asks you to come stay on, be part of this group that is working on AI or whatever. The British say, we don't need you anymore. We'll have our own people to help you. Go back to Africa. So, to bring up the issue of what you pay for this privilege is neither here nor there. You are getting a privilege, and that is their price. If you don't like the price, piss off, go somewhere else. What is perhaps interesting or not to be interesting to us? These things are not isolated. The British exploited you. You are an enslaved African. They built their culture, they built their countries, they built their economies on you. You now have the audacity, the guts to say to them, we want reparation. They say, fine, you want reparation? No problem. We will give it to you, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to squeeze your backside. We'll cut off your aid. You can't even build a toilet for your people. We will cut off your aid. We will give you no assistance, so shut up.
Interesting. Very interesting, Stanley. You know, I'm really, really shocked at the behavior of the British. I thought that they would have done this differently.
Well, times have changed. Times have changed, Andrew. We had a relationship, whether you like it or not, with the British. It's an unfair marriage, a marriage of convenience. The convenience no longer suits the British. When they had their Commonwealth, and their colonies, that was to their advantage. It's now no longer to their advantage, so they don't need you, and therefore they have a different view. Are they not asking people in English? If you come from Ukraine and you go into England, they give you money, they get you places to stay, they encourage local people. When black people went there to help them rebuild the country, didn't they say dogs, Irish and blacks are not welcome? There are changes, and people change according to the time. What black people have to understand, especially those of us who enslave Africans, rather than talking about Jesus and in Jesus' name and in Jesus' name, that can't help anybody. Be practical and come to grips with the modern issue. The British don't give a shit about you. Why should they? The American kids do it for fun. You see it on TV, but yet still they send you Jesus. In Jesus' name, God bless you, eh? Have a nice day.
I'm afraid to speak after you. And you know that. You know that quite clearly, and that's exactly why you did that. Anyway, but so we are in this spot, and we are in this spot, as you're saying, because of two reasons. One, racism, and two, the CBI situation, correct?
Yes, the CBI is the main reason officially for acting because, as I say, if you are a citizen of Caribou, you can go to 100 or not countries. If you are a citizen of Grenada, you could only go to 2 countries. So I'm not bothering with Grenada, I'm going back Caribou. However, I'm a bit dodgy. The Caribbeans didn't know I'm dodgy, so they give me the CBI, and other people like the British and Canadians say, well, I don't want you in my country. Despite you being a Grenadian and you have these privileges, I'm going to withdraw the privilege. So the poor Caribbeans who suffer, they are not going to benefit, but their government is going to be punished. But in real terms, you're not punishing the government, you're punishing the people of Grenada, you're punishing the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica, you're punishing the people of St. Lucia, you're punishing the people of a region that had a particular strong relationship with you.
So then, again, the question, I think I asked the question before, but I'm gonna put it in song now. There was a Calypsonian many years ago. He did a song. I don't remember the name of the guy, but the lyrics come to me. Where do we go from here?
Well, it's a new order. The question it really should be put to us. It's not where do we go from here generally. We are forced, and you started that by mentioning the song from agriculture. Where do we go from here, my friend? It's not Jesus, and in Jesus' name, we go to economics. If indeed we put our agriculture right and the agro-processing right, if indeed we put the fishing sector, take Labe where I am, Andrew, these days the people catch tuna, but it's not tuna we can ship because it's not done properly, so it can't go be abroad. But one tuna could bring you in $5,000. Imagine a guy with a little boat with the engines at the back, and he goes out and he catches 2 tunas because they now have a fad. They have a fad somewhere between I think Grenville and Guam, wherever this fad is, the Japanese build them the fad. You go and you get 2 tuna, mate. You have 10,000. What 10,000? You know how much when you come home, you don't have one money, you have no money, you don't have money you have to spend there, boy. So all these things are dynamics that are taking place, Andre. The fishing people, Grenadians don't call it prostitution, fares. The fishing people make fares more than anybody. They gamble more than anybody. They drink more than anybody. If we were able to arrest some of that money and see that it goes actively into the economy and into investment, along with agriculture, we wouldn't have to beg the white man to build us a toilet in Granada Beach. We wouldn't have to beg the white man to build us a daycare center, Andre, because we have the wealth, and we are creating the wealth and creating the jobs. We could then say we are going to have an agricultural school in Maribor. I don't care about people in Grenada, there was them. And time we also had an agricultural university. They can keep their PMI show for themselves because they don't care about anybody. They care about St. George's. Well, the place called Grenada, as far as I know, it's made up of, let's take Victoria. If you've been to Victoria and you were there in Christopher Columbus, is there such a thing? You wouldn't have known that you hadn't left. You think you were here all the time because the place is on. How do you explain it being as bad as it is? But we don't have. We are programmed to look to other people to help us, and the Jesus people have us messed up. We could develop Grenada on our own. We have the intelligence, we have the means. In Jesus' name.
Okay. You're going on a little bit too much about this Jesus thing.
Yeah, but isn't that what they used to brainwash you? How can a man black born in Africa turn out to be white?
That's what you believe.
Well, we are entitled to our belief.
That's what you believe. You believe that. I don't believe that.
Well, because your brainwashing is to perhaps a greater extent than mine.
No. If you want to believe a man born in Africa is white, that's your business.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either.
I am.
But that's not the conversation this morning, is it?
But you were the one who brought it up, mate.
Oh, yeah. Again, me. Stanley, so what's good? What's happening on your side? I'm about to deliver myself from you. What's happening on your side?
All I can say what's happening on my side, I'm very pleased to see what they're doing in Lososo. We have hemp, which they're making a ton of money from hemp, and they also have ganja, which they're making a ton of money from ganja. We have ganja. We need to introduce hemp in Grenada, and we are not as broke as they say we are. We are broke because we're programmed to think we are broke. Look at these. I don't know if you've seen it. You may see this guy with their ganja, and they have a thing in their hand. You know what it is? It's a mill. They're crushing their ganja, mate, openly, spoken openly. I say, look, let's make some money from the ganja and let's develop our country because we don't need to beg anybody. We need to plant ganja and we need to plant hemp. But the thing I'm saying is rather than the foreigners owning this activity, let's make sure that Grenadians own a significant share of the stakeholding.
Plant ganja and plant hemp and walk around like I said as zombies?
No, that's absolutely stupid. That is nonsense they're telling you there about walk around like zombies. That's nonsense. If you are, and you would know you do mental health, if you are prone to be mentally ill and you go and you smoke ganja the way you drink water, then you're likely to flip. But ganja have nothing to do with mental health.
So that is why you don't smoke, because you are mentally ill.
Well, I've always been mentally ill, and I celebrate my illness.
Stanley Charles, have a nice morning, my brother. And thanks again.
In Jesus' name.
Goodbye, Stanley. Take care.
All
right, great. It's real. It's 91.9, 91.5, www.realfmgrenada.com. We take a break, friends, and we will be back.
The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union, the credit union of Grenville, takes you where you want to be. Feel secure with the Credit Union of Grenville, taking care of all your financial needs, including savings, loans, mortgages, and sound financial advice. Serving you with branches on Jubilee Street in Grenville, Lucas Street in St. George's, and coming soon, our Grandance sub-office. Call us on 442-8602 or visit one of our offices. With Grenville Cooperative Credit Union, your financial security is guaranteed.
Oh
Oasis Pet and Garden, located in Westerhall, St. David's, has supplies for all your pets, fish, cats, dogs, and bird supplies, including bird food, cages, shampoos, soaps, and much more. Also available are agricultural products such as rat poisons, fertilizers, garden sprinklers, insecticides, and vegetable seeds. Wholesale prices available on selected items. Open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thinking about your pet or garden? Give us a call. Contact 403-7379 or 437-3532. Email oasisgrenada1@gmail.com. Oasis Pet and Garden, a home for farmers.
Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do kin stuff. Garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
M&M Hardware Limited, Hope St. Andrew and Dusty Highway, St. George. Shop conveniently for all your building materials, including plumbing, electrical, lumber, cement, steel, and much more. We manufacture roofing sheets available in 11 colors, aluminum windows, doors, insect screens, and hurricane shutters. Installation services are available for all our manufactured products. Our opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. M&M Hardware Limited. Come on in and experience our affordable prices, or call us 444-6757 or 440-6757 Dusty Highway. Email us at info@mahonhardware.com or mnmdusty@mahonhardware.com. M&M Hardware, foundation to roof. Let's build together.
Spice Mass is on, and the NLA is granting you free access. From July 15th to August 12th, every time you spend $12 in the purchase of Playway, Pick 3, Cash 4, and Lotto games, you can win free access to all Spice Mass shows, all major private shows, and Monday Night Mass packages. Look for the words Spice Mass winner on your gaming tickets, and access is granted. Guaranteed. Simply redeem your winning tickets at the NLA's office on Grenville, Grove Street, or the Coronage for free access to all the big carnival events. Over 380 free access will be granted. The more you spend $12 on the daily games and Lotto, the more chances you have at winning free access to carnival events. Must be 18 or older to participate. Terms and conditions apply. NLA, the only diamond sponsor for Spice Mass 2023.
I remember when this beach was really wide, a place to picnic and play cricket.
And we used to go up to the end to get away from all the people. Now all the beach gone.
Coastal erosion. When the sea starts to come in and take the land away, everyone loses something.
Granny, look how the waves are washing right under that house.
Coastal erosion. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. What can you do to help stop coastal erosion? For one, don't drive four-wheel vehicles on seaside dunes. They loosen sand and destroy binding vegetation, causing erosion. Find out more about coastal erosion and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and Sedera.
TV just got smarter. Introducing Hub TV from Flow. Enter the new era of entertainment with a voice-activated remote. No need to remember your favorite channels. Just say it, and see it. That is, if you could pick something. Because now you get live video on demand plus all your streaming services together in one wireless box. It's time to experience entertainment the smart way. Visit in-store or online at discoverflow.co for more info.
If you're looking to improve or maintain your health, look no further. We have a general practitioner right here on Main Street, Sates in the Kweze. Dr. Guerra, a gynecologist and surgeon who specializes in women's health. She offers lab tests, blood, pap smears, prostate cancer, and stool tests. We now have a portable EKG machine that gives you accurate readings by using just 2 fingers. And that's not all. If you're suffering from any respiratory conditions such as asthma, bronchitis, COPD, or seasonal allergies, we have a nebulizer machine that can safely treat these. Consultation for pregnant women from beginning to end. Surgeries, which includes hysterectomy, tying of tubes, vaginal shrinking, removal of uterine fibroids, vaginal warts, hernias, and C-sections. She also specializes in diagnostic and therapeutic DNC, abnormal bleeding. Eye testing is also available at the clinic by appointment only with Dr. Mabel Veritas Lugo. They are in collaboration with Alice Labs, located in St. George, opposite the Excel Plaza. Walk-ins are accepted. You can also call for an appointment at 423-3352 or our landline at 444-4272. That number's again 423-3352 or 444-4272. Put your health first.
Yes, agriculture is the number one. Number one, yes, the number one. Oh yes, the number one. It's the number one. Why you disown agriculture? I'm talking to the youths of this nation. And those wicked politicians, like they want to structure the plan. Well, from to the revolution, agriculture was on top. Man jack this and didn't do too bad. After that, you know the whole thing flop. Why? Everybody want to sit down in computer. And they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. Agriculture, and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. You could live without clothes, and they forget agriculture. Everybody want to sit down in computer. I tell you just now, my brothers, all you go with them computers. Used to ship plenty nectars all the way down to Trinidad during the revolution. We used to use up all the fruits that we had. When the cocoa, nutmeg and banana was at the highest level, now they use them don't want to take over from the elders and continue. Oh gosh, why everybody want to sit down in computer and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. Agriculture, and they forget agriculture. Oh yes, everybody want to sit down in computer. You could live without clothes, and they forget agriculture. Everybody want to sit down in computer. I tell you just now, my brothers, all you go with them computers. Lord, Lord, Lord.
I can tell you something, friends. I can tell you good morning. I can also tell you and show you that I had Dr. Entwine laughing. What we were talking about, I can't tell you that. That way you still laughing?
No, I'm calm down now.
but without saying what we were talking about that. But you understand what I'm saying?
Very well, yes. Very well, understand.
And that is, and in keeping what Stanley was saying, that is part of or the major part of our problem.
Okay.
Right now. You see, the African, because I used to say the black man, but I don't say it anymore.
Great.
The African doesn't understand or refuses to understand that he has to help the next African. Straight up.
I agree. That's what all other ethnic groups do, you know.
Now, I'm not going to preach racial divide. No. Never will preach racial divide. But the African have to understand that he has to help the next African.
Isn't that part of the mental enslavement that Bob Marley talked about and that we need to overcome? I would think.
The African.
Yes.
You know, I used to do so and wonder why Peter Tosh did the song. Okay, where you coming from? But he made one mistake in the song. As long as you're a black man, you're African. No. You have to be an African.
To be an African.
Good morning, how you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. I haven't heard from you. Been out to the island again? I know you usually travel.
No, I've been here for the longest while, except I've been exceptionally busy lately trying to get some things going at work. Yeah.
All right. How is Mr. Charles?
Mr. Charles is out of the state.
He's out of the state,
yes.
Okay. Well, I guess when he comes back in state, then we'll have the big function at his place.
I look forward to that, yes.
I am most definitely looking forward to that. You could say that again. You have a meeting tomorrow, don't you?
Today's Thursday, Andre.
Today's Thursday, you have a meeting.
Thursday, yes,
so yeah, your third Thursday, you're meeting what?
Same place as usual, upper level. Utility Square, or formerly Baines Hall, Grenville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's on the agenda?
The agenda for the most part today would be focused on the health benefits of spices.
The health benefits of spices?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds unusual, right?
Sort of. I know that spice, of course, has its benefit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it'd be nice. It's a nice thing to discuss the health benefit of the spices, because I guess that is with a view to getting the farmer to grow more of said spice.
Not particularly. I think the objective is to get us to begin to use more of our spices regularly, daily if possible, but in significant amounts, because the amount we use will make a difference in terms of our overall protective health benefit.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. The idea came up recently when I was reflecting on the emphasis that was being placed on beefing up our immune system using fresh fruits, all the colored fruits and vegetables during the COVID period. And I was reflecting and I thought, no, but the same phenolic compounds that are present in the fruits and vegetables, they belong to the same family of compounds that are found in the spices. So the question was, why, if we were encouraged to use more of the fruits and vegetables, why weren't we encouraged to use more of our spices? And so hence the reason why I decided that this session we should try and raise the issue of the protective health benefits of spices.
What about giving us a sneak peek into some of the spices that and some of the health benefits of them? Do you have that information with you?
Yeah, I've been kind of, I'm a student of natural products, right?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. So, for example, I know on the ginger is one of the things that seems to be the big fad right now. A lot of people being on the bandwagon, consuming ginger on a regular daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
But the ginger has let me just explain to you. So it has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits. Health benefits, okay. Thus, it helps in the cardiovascular disease prevention, okay, including heart attack, reduction in blood clotting, yeah, and reduction in the oxidative process of the cells. Basically, those are the major benefits from the use of the ginger, and that's caused because of the gingerol factor. which is one of the few compounds that has those bioactive effects on the health.
How much ginger in a ginger ale?
I don't know, but I must inform you that I have tasted ginger ale, and some of them have natural ginger, some, not many, but most of them have synthetic or artificial processed synthetic ginger.
But
ginger
don't you
flavor.
have to make the synthetic or the process from the natural?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. It's like vanilla, you know. Frequently, most of the vanilla you see on the market here is not pure vanilla. It's a substance called vanillin, which is the real active ingredient in the vanilla bean. But that is easily synthesized, you know, and so most of what we get is synthetic vanillin.
Vanillin. Vanillin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's readily diluted in alcohol, 35%, and cheap, you know, because real vanilla is very expensive.
Okay. Now, how about cinnamon in relation to health benefits?
Cinnamon does have some health benefits as well. In fact, one of the recent issue that's been discussed in the medical area was the benefit to diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And so a lot of people have been using it as that factor. And yes, scientific research has demonstrated the effects of the cinnamon bioactive compound on managing and controlling the blood sugar. However, one of the things our people seem not to fully appreciate and understand is, one, when you're using those spices, you need to use them at a certain level or a certain amount. And then you also need to use them regularly. So, for example, if you're using ginger, don't just use it this morning and then you say, okay, I use ginger every morning, and then tomorrow you forget to use it. Or if you're using the cinnamon to assist with your blood sugar, you want to use a fairly high level or amount. And then you want to use that at least once or twice daily so as to ensure that over a period of time it takes the effect. It's similar to the drugs that you prescribe when you go to the doctor. If you go to the doctor and he prescribes you a cholesterol drug, he tells you have to use one daily, right? For a period of time. Well, it's the same thing with the spices. You use the spice in a certain amount daily, and then you get to
But who does
experience.
a book on all of this? I mean, how am I supposed to remember all of this?
Well, that's because some people specialize in natural products, and some specialize in media.
No, but I mean, come on. If you're telling me, oh, use spice then and use ginger then and use nutmeg another time, come on, you need to give me a booklet so I can follow.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. One of each individual spice would have its unique benefit. For example, garlic, for example. Okay, garlic would have the effect of helping to soften the blood vessels so that it helps you to regulate your blood pressure. But you have to use the garlic every day and a certain amount to ensure that you build that concentration of that bioactive compound, allicin, which will help regulate the blood pressure. Now, just using it this morning or once a week, or it doesn't make sense. And not a lot of people do that. The idea is to use the spices on a daily basis because you have them. They are abundant in Grenada, and they have tremendous health benefits. Many of them have anti-inflammatory benefits as well. So it makes no sense having the spices here, and all we do is to think of selling them. And then we go into the pharmacy and we buy the supplements, right?
Garlic tablets.
Yeah, people buy garlic. Garlic. So the whole objective here, Andre, is to encourage our people to use more of our spices, and use a combination of those on a daily basis if possible, but regularly, and use significant percentages among so as to ensure that you get the benefit that you deserve to have. And for the most part, by the way, the use of those spices are most effective in preventing diseases as opposed to trying to cure the diseases. And so that's an additional factor we need to bear in mind when dealing with spices. Another one I want to raise is the question of the turmeric. Mm-hmm. Turmeric, we all use turmeric for a wide range of reasons. And you would recall a little boy growing up when you just sprained your ankle. Your grandmother, great-grandmother would have taken a corn cob or a corn stick and some garlic water and constick the area, and all of a sudden 2-3 days you could walk again, right? Or you could go kick the ball again, right?
I would have been able to kick it anyway. All she did was inflict pain.
No. She was literally massaging some active compounds into the tissue, which helped to relax the tissue in that area, and therefore reduce the swelling and help in the healing of the injury that would have occurred. But in the case of turmeric, it also has antioxidant effects as well, and aid in the anti-inflammatory process, which is exactly what happens when you do the consticking of your ankle. And it assists in the prevention of common cough and cold as well, right? It also has cardiovascular effects in terms of your blood vessels. And it also assists in the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases. You know what that refers to, right?
No, I'm just going to ask you that. What does that refer to?
Neurodegenerative diseases refer to things like Alzheimer's, and those dementia that occurs with, for various reasons. So turmeric is one of those spices that has that anti-degenerative effect. And so here is another reason why, again, turmeric should be used on a daily, regular basis. I must also point out that turmeric is found in curry powder. And so for those of us who like our oil long, as other gentleman said earlier this morning, you'll be taking a fairly good dose of your turmeric on a regular basis. But the idea is for you to use it on a daily basis. You don't have to use excessive amounts, but significant proportions so as to get the benefit over time. Because as I said earlier on, the whole objective of the use of the spice is to provide that preventative health benefit, as opposed to the curative benefit.
It is one thing to talk about using the spices. It is one thing to talk about that. But the other thing is the availability of the spices. That's one. And two, the cost.
Yes, availability in the Grenada context is not too much of a problem or an issue. For the most part, a wide range of spices are available in Grenada. I mean, you go to any of the market areas, you'd see vendors with their packages of the various spices, be it cinnamon, nutmeg. Nutmeg is a very important one, good for the nervous system. Yeah, it's also a stimulant, and it's a good replacement for the drug addicts. So if someone is hooked on some narcotic, nutmeg can be a good replacement to get them off that narcotic. So you have the nutmeg, you have the turmeric, you have the ginger, you have the clove. Clove is a very potent one as well. And of course, we don't grow garlic, but garlic is readily available in our shops and supermarkets. So black pepper. Black pepper is another major spice that has significant health preventative effects. So using those spices on a daily basis regularly is the whole objective of my presentation today.
Yeah, it's all well and good to say that, but I'm talking availability, of the spices. That's one, and the cost, man.
Well, let me just tell you a little secrets. You're asking about cost, right? Yeah, we probably get our spices at fairly cheap rates in Grenada.
We do?
Uh-huh.
Now you created another problem.
No, just not.
You've just created another problem, and you know what that problem is?
No.
They're putting up on the price today.
I hope not.
They're putting up on that price today.
And by cheap, I mean relative to the international market price. Let me just tell you something I learned recently. There are some countries in Europe who they buy spices in bulk from developing countries like Grenada. And most of the spices they import doesn't stay in their country. They re-export it. Some of it they re-export in bulk as bought, and in other cases they process it, be it the essential oil or the byproduct, and they export that. So the value adding factor of the spices is also a factor that we probably need to look at from an economic perspective. But if you were to bear that in mind, coupled with the health protective benefits to be had from the spices, there's no reason why, as a people, we shouldn't begin to use more of our spices. In fact, the Indians in India, for example, they're very big on their spices on a daily basis. But do they have the same, ailments as we have? For example, high blood pressure issues? No.
They don't. And that's because they use the spices.
Yes, the spices does have that significant, and it's scientifically demonstrated that the spices do have significant health preventative effects on human body.
It's 19 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour on a good looking Thursday morning. It was raining for a bit. And during that particular period when there was the rain, we were joined by the guy himself, none other than Mr. Bertrand John. Good morning, BJ. How are you, man? You okay?
Good morning to the listening public. Good morning to Dr. Antoine. I am okay, Andre.
Nice to hear that. How was your night?
Great. Survived.
You survived.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about the tragedy in St. Vincent?
Yeah, read about it.
Crazy, man.
Sad though.
Yeah. Crazy.
Too close for comfort.
Well, yeah, it is close. We have somebody online, though. Let me say good morning. Good morning to you. Hi. Oh, goodbye. I was thinking I'm going to see somebody else there. Yeah, tragic, isn't it?
Very.
Think it's bad boys? Or you know?
Andre, just don't want to hear those things in them. You don't even want to discuss it. No, because it's just sad and cunning to see those things and hear about those things. Another lives lost. Always a sad case.
Yeah.
There is no value on people's life, You can't put a value on it.
We've got a caller. Good morning.
Good morning to you all gentlemen, Mr. Antoine, BJ, and Mr. Donald. Very nice topic, and you all make it nicer when certain questions were asked. I heard the Prime Minister said that one of the problems they have is the availability of and in knowing how to when you having it with farmers. So they want to establish a system whereby you know what the farmer is planting, you know what quantity the farmer have, so that it can balance off prices and so on. Very good. And Mr. Andre just asked Mr. Antoine about availability. So I'm saying that's a very nice way to start. But we need a constant situation whereby we must know what quantity we have. For instance, you're talking about ginger. We must know the amount of areas that we could put on ginger, have an idea of the amount of ginger that could be put on, the amount of ginger that can be harvested between a year or so, and perhaps manufacture these things so that the farmer would be encouraged to continue planting. So you have, on one hand, Mr. Antoine, who is the expert in what the plant can be used for. You have Mr. Andre Donald, who full of ideas, who can sell that. And you have the government who could come up with a policy of obtaining market for those things. And I think that's a way to stretch off and start going, because we have so much things that is said is of use. Turmeric, ginger, so many different things that is of use, right? And we see, as Mr. Antoine said, they are in abundance. So why not start somewhere? Just a thought, I think. I think there is a good opportunity to start somewhere now, because the government is saying that they're willing to capture what can be produced, quantity, and they can pay for it. So If that is so, you all bright gentlemen, put your ideas together.
Thanks, Clifford. Have a nice day.
Good.
Good.
Let me just make one comment on his remarks. Good morning, Clifford. The point about understanding the quantity or volume of the spice we produce is a very important aspect. But that factor can best be understood, and of course, how to produce the various spices. Here is where I believe that the Maribor Agricultural College can play a major role in assisting us to understand the agronomy of the crops that we have, and to find ways and better ways and means and techniques for producing en masse those spices or crops. And that would require them doing some what you call research at the agricultural college. The problem we have here in the Caribbean in particular, in general, and in Grenada specifically, is that research seems to be an obscene word, you know. It's an alien word, and reports indicate that for the Caribbean, less than 0.1% of our gross GDP is spent on research. And the research that's done is generally surveys on things like education and health. So the issue of product development, innovation, and creation of new products is not an issue when it comes to research in the Caribbean. But if we have the Maribor Agricultural College engaged in an active way in R&D, those are some of the answers, issues that can be investigated, and therefore answers be provided. But until such time, we'll remain without specific information as regards our spices and better ways of producing those and handling, etc., etc.
BJ, you agree that we spend a lot of money on research development? We call it research development, but do you agree that we spend a lot of money on that?
I don't think we spend any money on those.
No, we don't spend 0.1%. That's not much. That's for the whole Caribbean. No. Watch, there are companies that spend up to 5% of their gross revenue on R&D.
Yeah.
And 5% in those cases, that's companies that bring in billions on an annual basis.
So why is it? What's our problem?
What's our problem? We do not value education and knowledge. Let me explain that. Knowledge, they say knowledge is power, right? But my take is that knowledge is as powerful as you can make use of it. It's as powerful as you can apply it. And one of the problems we have is, if you lack knowledge, then you don't have the ability to apply it. That's the first issue. Knowledge comes as a result of study, discussions, reading, experiences, experimenting, learning. And the issue of learning seems to be a tired one in Grenada in particular. So that a lot of us think that once we finish school, that's the end of the learning process. Well, as Dr. Leon, the new president of the Caribbean Development Bank, states, we should be prepared to learn from the womb to the tomb. And I agree with that. So that there should be something called continuing education long after we have finished school for the electricians, the plumbers, the masons, the teachers, the farmers. Even the doctors do their continuing educational units, right? The nurses do the same. And there are some hacks like BJ who read almost every day some additional bit of scientific information relating to his area of specialization, agronomy. So that's just like you. I mean, it's important that we read and learn new things. St. Vincent, for example, has decided that knowledge should be the basis upon which they will grow the economy and develop the economy. And that's a great strategy. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, overall economic development will be dependent on education. You need an educated doctor, you need an educated nurse, you need an educated teacher, you need an educated farmer, you need an educated workforce. Now, if your people are not educated en masse, then you won't have the labor force required for running, developing industry.
Are we suffering as a result of that?
Of course, in a tremendous way. Do you know the amount of talent that's wasted in Grenada, for example, or throughout the Caribbean because of a lack of educational opportunities or a lack of structured educational systems in the islands? It's a serious issue. One of the reasons they tell you that crime is so high in the Caribbean is because of the poor educational quality that's given. And let me illustrate that point this way. 5 of the top 20 countries for crime in the world are in the Caribbean. Doesn't that say something to you? St. Kitts, St. Kitts, Anguilla, Trinidad, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Belize. And they tell you one of the key issues is the quality of the educational system in those countries. Couple that with the fact that you send people to school, you educate them, and then they come back in the streets and they have no jobs. What are they to do? So,
well, it's nice for you to say it that way, but there's the other way.
Which is?
We send you away, you get a scholarship, we send you away, and next time we hear you is when you're a cadaver.
That's a factor too.
That's a fact.
Well,
and a lot of people take this thing for a joke. You know, they go abroad, they get the opportunity, they go abroad. I am paying for their education. And when they finish, they find a job out there. And the next thing I know is that somebody go, Mr. Raffi's son dead, you know. Which is Mr. What do you want that he go away and study? Can I be bothered? Honestly, no. Honestly, no. And then you have some who are sitting in the diaspora and all they do is criticize me here. That's all they do. They criticize me. Before I open my mouth, they criticize me. I'm not talking about just Andre. Generally, they criticize Grenadians. Oh, all you too big. Oh, all you too this. And some of them living on the dole.
Yes.
Do you understand? So that is a problem too. They have to stop that.
Yes. But at the end of the day, we have to look at ourselves and make the tough decision of what we're going to do.
I made a decision. That's how I look at myself. We've got a caller. Let's take the caller. Good morning.
Mr. Donald, you are so totally right. You can't say it again. Mr. Dennis Noel was making nutmeg oil, producing nutmeg oil, or a remedial medication with nutmeg oil. And he said he could not have got nutmeg oil to buy from Grenada. Mr. Webb came in, and there was a competition between Mr. Webb and the board. I think it end up in court. Mr. Dennis Noel is not here now. Mr. Webb is not here now. But the chairman of the board tell us that the price is right for nutmeg now, but we don't have the nutmeg. I wonder if Mr. BJ could help me with that. Because Mr. Andre is so right. Where is the technology and the knowledge to go on? Mr. Webb gone. Mr. Dennis Noel gone. But we advising the farmer to plant more nutmeg, to sell more nutmeg, but he ain't getting more money for it. And you're telling us, and the chairman is telling us that there is a demand now for nutmeg. Mr. BJ, please help us to answer that question. Thank you.
All right, good.
Andre, back to where we were before I answer Clifford's question. I cannot overemphasize and stress how important what Doc was just saying in relation to research and development. You couldn't really have sustainable development without serious research. I was just thinking while you and Doc was discussing, Andre, shouldn't we Nutmeg Association has a special department for research and development?
I'm happy you said that, because I remember, 15 years ago, you said that same thing to me. Antoine said that same thing to me. Nutmeg is our biggest export crop, and we don't know anything about what we exported.
Andre, we had a well-furnished lab, at the Nutmeg Association headquarters. And the last thing I heard, they were cleaning out the remnants of it. Just stayed and spoiled. Nobody use it. Nobody comes up with anything. Nobody take care of it. We used to do tissueculture plants in Grenada.
Yes.
Actually, bananas and
nutmegs,
pineapples and all of those things. I used to go and watch the operation. That disappeared. And we begging St. Vincent for some tissueculture banana plants a few years later. Those are the kind of things, Andre, that we have to get involved in order to move the sector forward. In relation to what Clifford was just speaking about, Andre, in order to solve those problems, you have to have, you have to have systems and structures in place. You have to do it in a collective way. Dr. Antoine with his enterprise going on, he should be encouraged to document whatever is happening there with regard to his research and experiments and all of those things. So when Doc was to pass away, there is something behind that people can go back on. Information, Andre. You go to the ministries and you ask them where it is, where that, and they did whole heap of projects, but no information recorded, no, feedback, no, control, so you don't know what it is happening. If you want to do something of a similar nature, you have to start all over again.
Victor Philip, who ran for NNP last election, about 15 years ago, in a conversation with him, and he was a tutor at TAMCC at that time. And you're having a conversation, and he was telling me about this child attending TAMCC who had developed the whole thing of using the cell phone to do irrigation, setting it up so that wherever that child needs to just go on his phone. Don't remember if it was a male or female, but go on their phone and tell the irrigation system at their farm, it is time to water my damn plants. And you water it for the next 5 minutes and shut off.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that this person had developed that. And I was sitting together with many other ideas that could have been patented. They were sitting in some lab or some office or some storeroom at the T.M. Marshall Community College. Thing that probably could have made millions.
It illustrates the point about knowledge, Andre. Yes, I have heard several reports and discussions on the issue of every year we have those so-called scientific exhibitions and competitions.
Yeah.
Ideas are shown, created, demonstrated to be feasible. And then nobody takes up the ideas and try to commercialize them. So they go back in the warehouse, like you just said. And that's a big issue, because part of the issue here is that we do not have a business culture. Sorry, let me rephrase that. We do not have an entrepreneurial culture in Grenada, just as we do not have a scientific culture in Grenada. And so the absence of that scientific culture and the entrepreneurial culture means that great ideas like the one you referred to go to the waste. My idea would have been, okay, so if TAMCC produced that technology, then some Grenadian or in the diaspora or locally should take up the opportunity to invest in that project, and such that the school gets a 5, 10, 15% off in the form of royalty.
I just told you, Dr. Antoine,
yes,
that Grenadians who have the money and who can be investors do not invest in Grenadians.
Which is why...
And those who sit in the diaspora, they say, me, I ain't going and putting more in it, they too lazy. So if you calling me lazy, you calling me dumb, you calling me beggy, what do you expect?
Which is why we have to advocate for a change in our mindset.
I've been advocating for change for the past, this is 19 years now. I've been advocating for change.
Let us persist.
And I've been called mad and stupid and all sort of things.
Let us persist.
Somebody told me the worst thing I ever did in my life was to bring a radio station in the rural areas. And I was like, for real? And then I kind of start to believe them,
No,
because they don't do business with me.
Yeah, well, that's why you should not believe them.
Well, yeah, but the people in the city, they don't value.
One of the problems we have is we do not have community media systems in newspapers or radio that serve the various communities.
This is what the radio was supposed to do. The radio was going to branch off into television and into not necessarily a newspaper, because you couldn't do it like so it would more or less be a newsletter.
Okay.
Do you understand? But they don't have the belief, and you want to make money. Well, who doesn't? We've got a caller. Good morning. Hello? Hello? Hello, yes, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How you do?
I'm okay, go ahead.
I'm a special guest, Claude Douglas here.
Good morning, sir. How are you? I haven't heard from you in a million years.
Yes.
You were one of the few who believed in Andre Donald. One of the few.
Mr. Donald, my senior.
Yeah. Let's leave that there. Let's leave that one right there.
Yeah, I just called to see how much I'm enjoying that program on a Thursday, especially this morning, with BG and your special guests and what have you. The last few remarks or points that you have been making are those things that people have been talking about from since way back when.
True that.
Know? And I was thinking just recently that we had to put a pause. We had to go a fast. Do a fast and workshops and conferences and seminars and what have you. And just have 1 year for just implementation. Because what you have here is an accumulation of knowledge of things that people have been speaking about year after year, decades after decades, So what needs to be done now is to just unpack all the lovely reports, that are shelved in the Ministry of Agriculture and those places, and see how we can flesh out the very good ideas and start an implementation period where those things. And one other point I want to make is that if the agricultural school continues to be on TAMCC, I don't see much hope in an institution like TAMCC driving agricultural forward, and I have inside information on that, which I will not share in public. But what needs to be done, basically, if I was part of the powers that be, is to separate the agricultural department, all right? Bring it back to how it used to be before, the Maribo Agricultural Training School, let it function as an independent entity. And I believe that it will be a greater, what I should say, a contributor, to the development of agriculture in Grenada. Thank you.
Thank you, Claude. Take care of yourself, brother. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, thanks, senior.
Okay, good, right.
Andrew, I was thinking that sometimes when you're not up to date with what it is happening, you get left. And when you get left, because you've been dragging along, it's hard for you to make rational decision. Let me give you an example. You hear a lot of people were saying during the COVID period that, hang on, I'm not taking this vaccine. They developed this thing too quick. Well, the thing about it, Andre, they didn't just go and develop this vaccine, There was a lot of research and development taking place long before we had COVID. The base for developing the vaccine was already there. They were just working to see the effect and whatever and doing some small experiment here and there. But it startled a lot of people. No, that's too quick. They can't come up with something so quick. Well, Andre, the world gonna leave them. And so it is with agricultural development, Things like, say, hydroponics, what Grenada trying to get involved in, no one jump into it. There are countries that involved in this thing 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You understand? And we late, And if you had proper research and development taking place, you had an agricultural college, then it wouldn't be hard for you to fit in right at the top. With Andre, there's a word named de-lawn, Doc, I don't know if you know that. You can de-lawn. It's like you know certain things, you leave school, you don't read anything, and you unlearn, you forget everything, you de-lawn, and it happening quick, Yeah. It taking you 20 years to pick up the stuff. As you stop deal with it, you just forget it. That's the way the human brain, function.
It is just sad. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think we need to do is to begin to advocate for a Ministry of Science and Technology. A ministry that would be able to...
Another ministry again?
Eliminating some and replacing them with a science and technology ministry. And I'll tell you why. We do not have a good appreciation for science. And so a lot of scientific ideas get lost.
We have appreciation for this.
That's technology sold to us. We don't make it. We pay money for it. And all they talk about technology is about spending money on ideas and techniques and gadgets that we bring in, as opposed to using the resources we have to come up with solutions to our problems. Nothing is wrong with a communication tool. Nothing is wrong with a tool that you use for gathering information, accessing information. But then what do you do with the information when you get it? It's no different from the information that the guy just talked about as regards the application that was developed for irrigating your lands, and it stayed on the shelf. Why didn't Mr. Antoine take the idea and commercialize it and make use of it? Well, of course, I didn't know. But the point I'm making is this: that if we have a Ministry of Science and Technology, as a ministry, they can organize and mobilize those ideas, seek and work with the college, for example, Maribor College, to find people like BJ who can assist in commercializing some of the ideas that they would have developed, or making use of the learnings that they would have gotten at the school during the research program. Also, if the Maribor Farm School is involved in R&D, the students coming out there, for the most part, would come out with plans for a project that they can implement on their own, so that they create whatever enterprise they want, but become employed, meaningfully employed, because of the experience and learning and training at the college. As it is, how many of our people will leave school and TAMCC and form the businesses? One. And two, even if you form it, the difficulties in getting a business off the ground are so tremendous that it's a waste of time, right? Well, not a waste of time. It takes a longer time to get the business going. Resources are difficult to come by. But if you have a Ministry of Science and Technology, they can have what I call an incubator center, where they take people with ideas, give them a 3-year probationary period of, they provide the space, they provide the resources, and they work with those ideas, the people with the ideas, and get them to start the enterprise in that incubator, after which they move out of the incubator into the independent operations. And you give them another 2 years assistance to make sure that business continues to develop. But we don't do that. So if, for example, the guy who came up with the application, he was brought into the incubator center, he'd have been provided with managerial personnel, he'd have been expertise to train him, he'd have been provided with financial expertise, training, he'd have been taught how to plan a business, start a business, run a business. He'd have gotten the financial assistance, he'd have gotten the space to develop his idea. And after 3 years, once he is on sound footing, you allow him to walk out of that incubator into his own enterprise. And so you create a pipeline of entrepreneurs and enterprises.
Until...
And so an idea like that, for example, being managed and directed by the Ministry of Science and Technology is a great idea.
Until the persons who sit in the ministries, until they stop holding a scholarship for their child or their friend's child who is in Form 3 and Form 2, but they holding that scholarship there for that child, year after year, nobody applying for the scholarship, and you believing like, well, we ain't getting that kind of scholarship, and yes, we're getting it, and it's there, but the person who's in charge just keeps holding it, until that child comes from Form 3 to Form 4 to Form 5, and next thing you see this child, you say, hey, how that child get scholarship already? That has to stop.
I agree. It should never happen in the first instance.
Well, yeah, but it is happening. And it has to stop. Until those things stop, we ain't going nowhere. Final words to me, BJ, for this morning.
Final words, Andre?
What's going to be a final word for today?
Final words for today.
Yeah.
Andre, you know a lot
You
of...
can make it a whole 2-3 paragraphs.
Okay.
Right.
You know a lot of countries would send the people to study in areas that are applicable, that they can use to develop the area that of studies, make it applicable in certain areas. For example, we have a lot of nutmegs and a lot of cocoa. Shouldn't the Cocoa Association and the Nutmeg Association provide scholarship for...
Anytime you say that again, I'm walking out.
No, we're just talking, Andre.
No, I'm walking out. Because you know Hastings is a waste of time. And you know, until Mr. Cato, until he does so and he relinquishes his position in Nutmeg and tell me that he's no longer there, I can't believe in Nutmeg and I can't believe in cocoa because Hastings is a waste of time.
Okay, you asked me for my final words and you interject me. I forfeit my final words. Andre,
you still have it.
Andre, I'm saying that to say that a few years ago they caught some Chinese student with about 4 or 5 pounds a corn that they steal from a field in the US. They had a new variety of corn that they breed. The Chinese wanted to figure what it is happening. They wanted to experiment with that variety. They ensured that the students would pick up a few and get it back home, Andre, so they can grow it and see what it is happening, see how they can split the genes and see what is happening there. That is the state people will go at, that's the distant people will go at to find new varieties and stuff like that, to experiment, see how they would fight with each other to steal information from each other and stuff like that. Andre, we have to experiment, we have to research, or else we wouldn't have genuine development. We will be always following. We wouldn't be able to set trend.
Somebody from McDonald College who went to school at McDonald College just sent me a note, yeah? I'm going to read it. When I graduated from school, the highest subject pass rate was in agricultural science. But the only person who went to the Maribor Farm School is now a police officer. You understand that, Mr. Antoine?
Yes. He's not in farming.
He's a police officer.
Yeah. BJ has to finish this.
No, that basically finished long time.
You know, Andre, I think a fundamental problem we have is education. Education. I want to compliment BJ's last point there about the Chinese. There was a class called aquaculture being taught at the University of Florida, in which some Taiwanese participated. At the end of the class, these guys bought themselves 3 pairs of tiger barb fish, ornamental fish, 3 pairs. They flew back to Taiwan. And within months, about 6 months after, they came back to establish relationships with people in Florida and throughout the US to sell ornamental fish. And every month, these guys used to come back, just pick up the checks and go back to Taiwan. And they send up the fish from Taiwan to the people in America because ornamental fish is a big business. The man attended a class. He learned something. He applied the idea. And why don't we do that? That's exactly what I want the farm school to be like. You go to the farm school, you learn some things, you take an idea from there, and you apply. That's what Sergey and his colleague did for Google. They were at Stanford University. They were working on a project, and they realized all of a sudden, we could commercialize the project. Steve Jobs did the same. No, sorry, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates did similar things, right? So the point is, as you learn, ideas come. And ideas come, you have to be prepared to take the idea and develop it and try and commercialize it. Bill Gates first went to Ross Perot to sell his Microsoft idea, Prospero was considered the best in the technology field at the time, and he turned down the idea, and that's when Bill Gates was forced to go into this garage and produce his computers for himself. We could do the same thing, but we have to provide the space, encouragement, and means to assist people with ideas like that, so that they can incubate the ideas, develop it into a functional enterprise, and get it in our society. Otherwise, we'll continue being dependent on foreign investors whose only objective coming in Grenada is not to invest and grow and develop Grenada's economy, but to take money out of Grenada. So the long and short is, my idea is that, my last word is this: we have to focus on a better quality education for our people. We have to focus on continuing education for all our people, mass education. But we also have to think of doing research and using our institutions that can do research to come up with new ideas, innovations, creations, to help solve some of the problems in our society.
No farmers, no food. No food, no future. Remember that, eh?
Fully understood.
No farmers, no food. No food, no future.
Andre, before I came here, I heard you and Doc was talking about synthetic ginger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just know that's what you're going to be getting, something in the form of a tablet with everything in it. Everything synthetic. Synthetic man, you're going to be walking about the place just now.
Someone wanted to know, Doc, in relation to turmeric, that aids with blood thinning, correct?
Yes, very correct.
All right.
That's
so
why
the person was saying, is there concern when one suffers from some sort of a cardiovascular issues? Would it be correct to continue using turmeric?
in moderation, yes. Nothing is wrong with using it. It depends on the nature of the cardiovascular problem, though. And one of the things about the spices, for example, the same turmeric, is it facilitates the blood thin, the nature of the blood to remain thin, so that it's not thick, opposite of thin, right? And so the blood flow, blood circulation becomes easier. The easier the flow of the blood in the system, the more effective and efficiently oxygen gets transported from the lungs to the
like
cells.
Keep it moving.
Right. And so I don't think it will have any negative effect. However, I must also point out there are some spices, if used in excess, can have some liver problems, or other organs can be affected adversely. Which is why the older people used to tell us, use everything in moderation. And that was a wise idea. So we could use nutmeg on a daily basis in moderation. We could use the turmeric in moderation on a daily basis. We should be using the garlic daily. We should be using clove daily. We should be using ginger daily. In other words, there are opportunities in everyday activities, be it at breakfast or lunch or supper, to use many of those spices.
I should be having you and BJ here daily. Then there might be a change. There might be a change if I have you guys here daily. BJ, again, thanks.
Welcome, Andre.
Couldn't do it without you. Dr. Antoine, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Andre.
For today. And
if you want to live long, drink ginger every morning.
well, just remember, no farmers, no food. No food.
You could combine the spices, You could do the spices in combination. Just to remind our audience of the Spice Farmers Association meeting this evening.
What time?
5 o'clock.
Baines Hall?
Baines Hall, upper level. Grenville.
All right, take care, folks. God bless. Have a wonderful
Take
one.
care.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, great.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right. Oh,
No,
yes,
you go ahead.
you were going to say something.
Every third Thursday in the month is when we meet at the Spice Farmers meeting in Grenville.
Every third Thursday
at 5
is when you have your Spice Farmers meeting.
Yes.
Every third Thursday. Okay? Yeah. Well, we'll catch you again.
Yep. Thank you very much.
And
Andrew.
you'll be here next third Thursday, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
I'll make it. I'll make it.
And we miss Dalton today.
Where's Dalton?
He's out of state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's out of state.
I hope not in St. Vincent.
I hope so too. Take care, guys. Okay, bye-bye now.
Dr. Rico Ligo?
Number one. Why you disown agriculture? I'm talking to the youths of this nation and those wicked politicians, like they want to structure the plan. Well, from the to the revolution, agriculture was on top. Man, Jack and didn't do too bad. After that, you know.